I had a chance to catch up with an old friend. He was being honored for his philanthropy. You know him, you love him, Justin Timberlake. Of all the people I've worked with, by far my next guest is my favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Justin Timberlake to the Brian McKnight Show.
Wow.
My man.
Thank you.
You act like you never heard that before.
No, that's, coming from you, that's, you know, if I heard it from somebody else, that's cool. But
my man, I don't even know where to begin. Watching everything that's happened. We met when you were like 13.
We did.
In the hallways of the...
I believe I was 11.
11, well, somewhere around...
Not that I remember it like it was yesterday, because one of the more defining moments of my life.
Stop playing, stop playing. But to be able to see you from then to now, I mean, you're getting awards for philanthropy, on a golf course, singer, songwriter, producer, actor, I mean, you do it all. I mean, one of the most recognizable stars in the whole wide world. And I got to see you before all of that. So I kind of feel like, you know, it's just crazy for me to see that because I'm so proud.
Thank you, man.
To have been there at the beginning. Man.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. That means a lot.
But what's it feel like? I mean, tell me how you feel. Really, honestly.
You know, to be honest, I feel like a lucky son of a gun. What channel is this on? I feel like a lucky son of a gun. I grew up, you know, we talked about this before, you know, when we met and when we worked together on my first record. You know, I grew up in Tennessee where we didn't have access to a lot, but we had a radio. You know, we had radio and we had television, so growing up, I loved movies and I loved songs, and it was weird, you know, I grew up in the time of the phenomenon of people like Michael Jackson, and you know, I was an 80s kid, I grew up in the 80s, so I was able to sort of understand what that was, but not to the extent that someone growing up in New York or LA or places like that would understand it. I grew up, you know, my parents raised me on everything, you know, films and music, and so I grew up loving songs more than anything, and I grew up loving movies more than the musician or the actor. That's why I love writing songs as much as I love being on stage, right. And that's why I love, that's why I love working in film and on television and being involved in the creative process of a sketch on SNL, you know, coming up with the idea as much as I love getting the laughs from it. Uh-huh. You know, I mean, you know, as someone great once said, you know, and they were speaking about film, you know, everybody sees the film, you know, in the finished product, but the process is really where the magic is, and that's where we as artists, that's where we lose ourselves as people. That's where we're you know, just lucky to be able to tap into that. You know, I know you write songs for different reasons or different ideas come to you, but you don't really remember. I know when I write songs, I don't remember how they started or how they finished. Right. I just know that I could listen to it 2 or 3 years later and say, oh, I remember a moment about it, but I don't remember specifically. How it happened. Right. You know?
How in the world, and knowing you for this long, can you remain this grounded and this down to earth? I mean, you're the same Justin that I knew from before. Now, I'm sure there are things that are different, obviously.
Sure.
But
facial hair.
The heart has stayed the same, man. And for most people, that would be difficult to do.
Honestly, man, I was, you know, when I talk about Tennessee a lot. I talk about where I grew up a lot because it means a lot to me, and my family means a lot to me. And you know, I think people who end up having a lot given to them and they sort of lose their way a little bit. I think, you know, you can usually statistically you can, you know, you could trace it back to most of the time what it was like for them as a child, right. You know, and how they grew up with their parents. And I just know that my mother would, you know, she would kick my ass. She would kick my ass.
Just like mine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I heard what you said. You're getting a little cocky. Yeah, I heard you. You know? Yeah, wait till you get home. You know, I remember hearing things like that when I was 13, 14, and, you know, you couldn't tell me anything, you know, because I'm on a TV show, you know, and I came home and she was like, I remember her saying to me, you know, just because you're able to do something, one thing, just because you're able to do something at a level where people are, you know, where they respect it or they're in awe of it, it doesn't mean that you're a better person. You wake up the same, every day. You put your pants on the same every day. And I think that's just what it was like for me growing up in the South. So I'd say it's my mom. Fear of my mother has kept me humble. Yes. Just playing out fear of my mother.
Right. We share another passion. I know what it does for me. I know what golf does for me.
Right.
What's it do for you?
Oh man, see, we got to go play now. Man. I didn't know you started playing.
Well, you know,
how long have you been playing?
I've been playing now 3.5 years.
Oh, see,
and I'm single digit now.
I
knew, because I know how competitive you are.
We could get a game going.
I knew that before we played, I had to be at a level, because you're going to bring out the money, and we're going to be out there, we're going to be talking.
No. It's only for pride.
Okay. But yeah, what does it do for you, really?
Honestly, I stumbled into golf when I was about 20 years old, and so I've been playing 7-8 years. Right. And what it started off for me as, I do remember the moment where I went out and played, and I think I was in Las Vegas, and I played 3 shows in a row, and I was, you know how it gets when you're on tour and you're inside all the time. Right. You travel, you get done with the show and you travel to the next location, and you don't get in until 4 or 5 a.m. sometimes, and so you sleep until the afternoon time, and you show up at sound check. You're inside, it's dark. You start to feel like a hermit. Start to feel like an extra in Twilight or something. You start to feel like a vampire or something. And so I just wanted to get outside. And my stage manager came and said, me and a couple guys from the crew are going to play golf. You should come with us. And I'd played a little bit as a kid. My dad tried to get me into it, but for me it was basketball and girls. That was it. The only G thing I followed was girls. Right. So I went out and I hung out with them, and they just had so much fun with each other, and it seemed like something I could do with the fellas that could, all you do is go out there and you hit a little ball towards a hole. Mm-hmm. And it got my mind off of everything, and it's just a release. Right. And focusing on the game and getting caught up in all the eccentricities of the game, you forget all the stress that, and you're focused on one thing,
Yeah.
So.
Justin, we haven't gotten to play.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
let's
for
do it.
being on the Brian McKnight Show.